Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. It is Therapy Thursday. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a lovely Thursday today. Y'all, so my background is different. You notice? You notice my background is different? I escaped on a travel therapy, but not really for fun, but a mix of fun and business. Yeah. So I am in DC as we speak. I'm not in Atlanta. You all know me. I'm Dr. Triphi. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta. But today and for the next few days, I'm doing a bit of uh, psychology stuff. So every year there is what's called the American Psychological Association convention, and psychologists go so that we can keep learning. So that we can keep learning what's happening, what's new in the research, what new can I come back and share with you. So I'm excited about the weekend. Of course, I will share some pictures as I make my way around the city when I'm not in class. I will escape. Anyway, tonight I'm so excited. I am very happy to welcome a special guest. You all know me when I show up on Thursdays. My hope is to teach strategies to help us think better so we can feel better and we can do better. It's also about learning from our trauma stories to transform those experiences into lessons where we feel stronger. So I'm talking about agriculture tonight. Why would I talk about agriculture? I'm a trauma therapist. Well, people who look like me have a very mixed relationship with the land. Why? Because I am from Dominica, originally in the Caribbean, and my guest also is from Dominica. And people like Dominicans and other Caribbean people, we were brought over from Africa into the Caribbean to work forcefully. So I honestly remember growing up on a farm. So my parents worked the land. My dad was a farmer. My mom, and sometimes I would help her, sold the produce in the market. She actually even sold produce overseas. But I remember them telling me things like, we're working the land so that you don't have to. Now, what does that mean? That's a complicated history with the land because we have a history of enslavement and a history of toiling so hard in the land against our will. However, on an island like Dominica, which used to be called the breadbasket of the Caribbean, because the soil is so fertile that practically everything grows in Dominica. What do you do with that when the land is your wealth? So I'm hoping to hear from an author from Dominica who wrote the book called Pink Agriculture. I am so excited to talk to her because I want to hear her story. I want to know, how did this young lady come to this place where she's so interested and so fascinated by the land that she writes a book about it. So I'm going to welcome her in. Welcome, 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 Callister. How are you?
Good day. I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, so I called your name, but I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to us.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Callister Sango. Many of you in Dominica probably heard of me as a young woman actively involved in agriculture. So today I'm just here to talk about my book, Pink Agriculture, and other stuff that I am working on and stuff that I will hopefully work on in the future.
Oh, okay. I love that. So, what is your author story? You're an author. Three times over, and we're talking about one tonight, but how did you come to be an author? What was that process? What's that journey? for you?
Well, I started a business venture known as Agrivertise, which was pretty
Mm-hmm.
much focused on linking buyers and sellers of agricultural products. Um, but while doing that business straight out of college, I realized that there were some issues that I was facing, in terms of marketing the produce for the farmers, and I reached to a point where I was stuck. I was stuck because things wasn't working as smoothly as I wanted it to work, and
Mm-hmm.
because of that, I started jotting down certain points, and
Mm-hmm.
I would refer to it as a mini business plan for myself, since I was in the business. But
Mm-hmm.
I also realized that because I was dependent on two parties at the time, buyers and sellers of agricultural products, I realized that it would also be something that could help them. Because if I were to help them to better conduct their business, then they would in turn be more reliable for me to be able
Okay.
to do what it is I have to do for them in terms
So
of.
what did you major in college? You said once you left college, you started the business.
I majored in agriculture. I have an associate degree in general agriculture.
So my interest, why agriculture? How did that start?
Well, actually, I when I remember when I went to that office that day to select my course, I was looking through the stuff and I was like, wow, what should I do here? And I feel like for some reason agriculture at the time it had more weight to it. I felt like the others were so light, like stuff like office administration, I was like, no, I feel I can be more than just somebody sitting in an office behind a desk just answering phone calls. So
Yes.
I thought like agriculture had more weight to it, and again I felt like I could do well in it because I come from that background and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my people were actively involved in agriculture. So yeah, that's why I did it. And I actually got the award for that when I left school. A lot of people don't know that, but I
What
actually
award?
uh,
What award? You got an award?
I I don't have it with me right now, but I actually have I think I got the highest GPA for that year. Um yeah, so I actually excelled at the course at college as well. So
Well,
yeah.
you heard what I said when we started. Our people have a history after they left Africa forcefully of working the land. And the land, I think, for many people has pain memories. Can you relate to that at all? What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I think that's one of the reasons that kind of has something to do with the nature of my book. Because when I came up with the name Pink Agriculture, I was thinking that I feel like people, when they think of agriculture, they think of it as something that is dirty work, something that is hard. And I wanted to give a lighter approach to the whole agribusiness thing. Because I realized like young people were kind of uh, deviating, if I should say, from agriculture, and they were not
Hmm.
interested in it as I think we should be. Because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, I believe agriculture is what supplies our basic needs. And I think I said that at the back of my book.
Yes.
It actually says, yeah, I have a copy here, and it says,
Yes.
it's what clothes us, feeds us, and puts shelter over our heads. It does not matter from what angle you look at agriculture. One thing is certain: agriculture is big business, and therefore anyone directly involved in the industry should be a millionaire. So this is what is at the back. This is what is at the back of my book right now, and I believe so because at the end of the day, when I look at it, I say, but wait a while. When you look at where does wool come from? Cotton. It stems from agriculture. All the foods that we eat, they stem from agriculture. So why is it? I mean, even if you were to go to a fast food company right now, the chickens that there are not artificial.
Absolutely.
They stem from agriculture. So why is it that yes, they add their stuff to it to make it less natural, but it's
Hmm.
still the main product stems from agriculture. So why is it that the farmers are still lagging behind, if I should say? They should be the
Hmm.
ones calling the shots. because they are
Absolutely.
the ones producing the main products that are needed to do whatever they do to the products and then brand it and market it. So this
You
is
know,
mm-hmm,
you answered my next question, which was going to be, what's your highest intention for writing this book?
mm-hmm. Well,
You said, go ahead, go ahead.
well, actually, I my hope is that we will have more people doing agriculture on a business level, especially the people that are actively involved in it, the farmers,
Hmm.
herbalist, florists, seedling propagators, fisher folk. I hope that they will see what they do as a business, and I hope that they will be the ones eventually calling the shots. You know, because I feel like even as a middleman, right, as a middleman
Yes.
between the buyers and the sellers, one thing I noticed, I became weak. I became weak in between the buyers and the sellers. Why?
How so?
Why? Why? Because I realized the consumers, well, they have the money for real,
Hmm.
but I realized they had a lot of power. They had a lot of power when it comes to the pricing of the product. I am the person in the middle, and I cannot
Hmm.
determine, hey, you know what, let me add a 5 cents so that I can get a cut from it, because they are the ones calling the shots still, but it is the farmer's product. So this is one of the things. I mean, come on, this is one of the reasons why I had to write that book. It talk about that, and I hope that the farmers, especially the farmers who get a chance to read this book, that they will eventually have more control over their products and the sale of their products, because that is
So,
important.
so, so what are you saying is the state of agriculture, say in Dominica today?
Well, hmm, I believe I believe a lot more can be done, but first we have to try to get people involved, because I believe a lot of people are moving away from it. A lot of
Hmm.
people actually have the passion for this stuff still, but
Hmm.
they feel like it is not beneficial to them. So they have to go to something else, maybe construction or get a security job or something like that. So I believe that first we need to revive agriculture again, as I should say, and I believe one of the key things that can key people that can help is the young people, and
Hmm.
I believe even women. Women, I think we need to get more women involved in agriculture in
How
Dominican.
how how would you do that? How would you do that? You mentioned, how do we? You're talking about bringing in more people, making agriculture more attractive
Right?
again. Yes,
Mhm.
to young people and women in particular. Do you have any ideas for how you might do that?
Well, my entire book again, it 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 should be more attractive to women, because the content of the book, it talks about advertising, branding, and marketing. So
Okay,
let's just say that we leave the labor aspect for the men to do,
like the
then we can.
physical work, the hard
Right,
work.
right.
Okay,
So then we can have our women do stuff like marketing, like I am right now trying to do with my business, Agrivertise.
okay,
I have an online platform. I need to revive it again, but I have that online platform that
okay.
so women can actually sit with your high heel if that's what you want to do. But you
Right.
are instrumental as well in helping to bring buyers
Get
to the
that.
suppliers and so on. So those are some of the things that I talk about there. Even branding, so a lot of times you will have a farmer, he might not be interested in sending emails and building a social media platform and all those things, and those things are very, very important for reaching people. So
Hmm.
we men need to now step in and help in that regard. Go to a farmer and say, hey, if you post your stuff, well, that's my role as advertised, but if you post your stuff on Facebook, somebody might see it. And I feel a
Right.
lot of farmers miss that opportunity. It's like
Right.
they want to go to the market. I posted something recently. All I have to do sometimes is say, I have limes for sale. And the
Hmm.
moment I say that, some people say, how much for a pound? So
Right.
you get that instant inquiry. So I think like women can play an active role in helping to build websites, maybe professional email addresses, not just any email, because my book doesn't support any email, because
Hmm.
I see a lot of people sometimes they have an email and it's like sexycallister@gmail.com.
Right,
But that's
right,
not
right,
what my book is supporting. It's telling you here that you have to be more professional. So you can say agrivertise at
right,
gmail.com, so that when
right.
people see your email, they know that you are serious about business. And I realize all those things. Sometimes we overlook those things, but it is important that you brand yourself, which is the first one of the first chapters in my book. Starting a business and branding yourself. That's where we need to start. I mean, mhm.
Calista, you're talking about agriculture seriously as a business, as a business.
Right,
And
right.
as you spoke, I saw my parents. I saw
Hmm.
my dad going up into the heights, 6 o'clock in the morning, coming back at sunset, right? He was doing the physical labor, like you were saying. But
Hmm.
my mom would go down with the produce, she would sell, and she
Hmm.
would call people, she would make the contacts and the connects
Right,
and nurture the relationships,
right. But
right? And go ahead.
and that is a good thing, because with when you have a supportive woman like that, then you will see your way. Maybe not
Mhm.
$100,000, but you will see a $10,000, because you have
Yes.
the support that you need. A lot of
Yes.
men, I believe, they don't have the support of women. and
Mm.
and even if maybe you cannot get the support of your partner in the home, but what if other women on the outside start coming to you and say, hey, I can do this for you, I can market this for you, I can post that online for you, just let me know what you have available when you have it available.
What I
That's
hear from you is an opening when
mm-hmm.
it comes to ideas about employment and earning money for
Mm-hmm.
young people who are good on the phone, who
Uh-huh,
are good
technology.
with social media, who are good with, like you say, setting up websites.
Mm-hmm.
They can go now.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody can go now and go find a farmer in Dominica and actually help that person grow their farm, right?
Right,
Because
right, right. I mean, I tried. This is what I tried with my business, agrivertise. But the thing about
yes,
it, agriculture is broad. And
yes,
as a young lady, I need people with my vision, because if they
right.
don't have the same vision, you cannot move. It's similar like being in a relationship. If the two
Mhm.
parties are on two different roads, you will not get anywhere. You need to put your head together. And
Right.
this is the purpose of my book. If I get at least 10,000 people reading that, then I believe
Yes,
I will be able to go now and just put my business together, and
yes,
everybody just gravitate towards it. But I cannot do that, because why? The foundation is not properly laid.
right,
But I
right.
cannot lay that foundation by myself, because it has to do with the mindset. It has to do with the people changing the way that they do agriculture on a whole.
You're
I
asking
see.
them to bring it into 2023. You're asking
Right,
them to bring
right,
it into
right. Get
2023.
I mean, we need to merge the offline with the online, and we need to do it quick. We
Yes,
need to do it quick, because um, in Dominica, I know that the Ministry of Agriculture is trying to promote backyard farming, but
yes,
we need to merge backyard farming with agribusiness.
that's right.
Because if the people just plant in their backyard, you might just put two trees of pepper or whatever in your backyard. Most likely, you're going to use that in your kitchen. So you
Hmm.
cannot really see any benefit of the backyard gardening. Now, how do we merge backyard gardening with agribusiness? We need to start doing that. I think the Ministry of Agriculture needs to start
Can
thinking
you
of
expand?
agriculture on a business
Can you
level.
expand a little more? When you say agribusiness, what is that vision? What do you see in your imagination for how
Well,
that could be in Dominica?
one of the things, because I spoke about backyard gardening, let me just start there again.
Mhm.
A lot of people, when you tell them about backyard gardening, they still don't see it as doing it for them to sell. So we
Mm.
still have people thinking of, hey, you do it for you to be able to eat,
Subsistence.
without going to buy. But we need
Hmm.
to now change that mindset a little bit to, hey, you can use your backyard, maybe plant seasoning peppers alone. So at
Right.
that point, you have seasoning peppers alone at the back there, you are reliable enough to
To
sell
sell.
seasoning but
To
what
sell.
if you just plant two seasoning peppers, then you maybe put two little cabbage there? That's what people do with their backyard gardens. They just put two little stuff, two little head of lettuce. But what if you just change the mindset of the people? Hey, you're just going to plant lettuce alone in your backyard. So at that
Yes.
point, we know we have 25 heads of lettuce. You just call one of the supermarkets, hey, I have 25 heads of lettuce ready to go. But a lot
Hmm.
of times people cannot find that much in their backyard gardens. So I think that's one of the things that the Ministry of Agriculture need to do now. Try to push agribusiness. I see a lot the with my book I focus on farmers, herbalists, florists, seedling propagators, agro processors, fisher folk. I think they are the ones mainly involved in
I
agriculture.
love how you're just spitting those words out. And I'm
I
like,
mean, I've been doing that for a long time. That's I've been doing that for a long time. And one of the things that I noticed, the only group of people out of the I think six groups that I mentioned, the
mhm.
only group of people that I usually have I usually can conduct business with them easier is the agro processors. So
And
what
who are
happens?
they? Who are the agro processors for the people who don't understand much about agriculture?
Mhm. Agro processors are people who manufacture the raw products and turn it into something that they can sell. For example,
Like so
you
guava goes into
castor oil.
jam.
Mm. Say that again.
Like guava becomes guava jam.
Right, that's it, that's it. So when the people now convert guava to guava jam, or they make castor oil, they make
Mhm,
coconut oil, then they
mhm,
start thinking $30. They
mhm,
start thinking $75. That
mhm,
those are the only people I feel, at least a 70% of them
mhm.
think of agriculture on a business level when they get
Business.
involved.
Mhm.
What about the other five groups of people? We have farmers, we have herbalists, we have florists, we have seedling propagators.
What would you say to them? What would you say to them about how they can do that? Make that leap
Transition.
because it's a leap. Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, you just again you start thinking out of it of the hobby mindset, and you start
Mhm.
thinking of, hey, this is my business. The very
Yes.
first chapter the very first chapter in this book is starting a
Mhm.
business. So that's the very first,
Foundation.
that's what we need
Foundation.
to do. And everything from that book flows. It flows from starting the business, and the final chapter will tell you marketing. So everything in between there will tell you about pricing and who are your customers and branding and how to package and how to effectively communicate and advertising and those kind of things. So I believe
Yes.
where the seedling propagators and the rest of them need to start is think of their business, think of their work as a business, right? So, in having said that, you need to change the name. So it's no longer you just going to the farm. You're going to um, give me a name.
John
Now. You're going
Brown's
to
farm.
Margaret's farm. Thank
That's
you.
right.
I like
Yes.
to talk to you. You know the vibe. So you go into somebody's farm. So you give your farmer a name, right? I
Yes.
I see a few people do it, but we need to get more farmers involved in that. And if you cannot do it on an
Come
individual
on.
level, from a cooperative.
Cooperative. I have this to ask you. I'm like, okay, again, I grew up in a time where our entire village, there
Hmm.
were a few villages actually that combined to create a cooperative.
Right.
I have an entry in a diary of mine where my dad, well, my family, he had earned the check was 5,000 something dollars 1 week. Like 1 week of work was $5,000. You know what I mean? That he earned from his business, right? But it was
Right.
because the community came together as a
Mm-hmm.
cooperative. They had their rules, they had their structure, they had their
Right.
whatever, but
Right.
everything pooled their resources
Mm-hmm.
together. Can you talk more about that? Because I don't know. I mean, I haven't been lived in Dominica for a while, but I don't know if there are any cooperatives that still exist and how they're working. So I'd love
Well,
to hear.
I had the opportunity after during COVID-19. I had the opportunity through my business to work with the UN Women, and I had to advertise the products of four main groups in Dominica.
Okay.
North. I think it had some from Montperspe,
Mhm.
northeast, down so, and it had central cooperative something different groups of women in
Okay.
agriculture. I think the article is still online for those of you who want to um go to find it. You can
Where can
actually
they find it? Where can they find it?
you can just go and search for UN Women and Agrivoltaics or
Okay.
UN Women and Callister Sango. Just put UN Women with my name, and you
Okay.
should see that article pop up. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so this it made it easier to work with those people
Mhm.
because they were a group. And when you have a group, everybody is, I mean, even if you have one person slacking, but then somebody else will hold my God, somebody else would continue producing,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that is the difference between a cooperative and an individual. The
Yes. Yes.
cooperative is similar to a business because they have a
Yes.
structure, like you said earlier. So that's why, in as much as I promote businesses, I also support cooperatives because I think like they have the same agenda. They
Yes.
can do the same thing. We can eventually get the same result
That's
because
right.
there is a formal structure. So
But
that's
people can use whichever structure fits them better, at least in the
right,
beginning, right? At least in the
right, right.
beginning,
I
maybe you can
think I
start up with
think
a cooperative. Go
mhm.
ahead.
I think the small farmers, if
Hmm.
you're a small scale farmer, you should try to join with somebody else. If you're a large scale farmer and you're producing a whole set of passion fruit and a whole set of,
Right.
then you can manage your stuff. You don't
Right.
need you maybe can have a few employees under you and you have your team. But then if you're a small scale farmer and you're looking for proper proper backing, then I believe that it is wise to join a group.
To collaborate.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And not
Yes.
just a farmer. I stress on farmers a lot
Mhm.
because I believe farmers have a lot more potential. That's
Yes.
why I stress on them a lot. I feel like they focus a lot on the labor aspect and they're not
Hmm.
getting returns for what they are doing. But I would still advise other people involved in agriculture to focus on a business or to get involved in a cooperative or get some help so that
This
you
is
you
so
feel.
powerful. This is so
Mm-hmm.
powerful, Calista. This is reality. This is how you create success. This is how you start and you grow. Yeah?
Hmm.
And you're talking about a mindset shift that has to occur where
First.
people think bigger, where people
Mm-hmm.
think bigger, where you think that this is my livelihood and
Mm-hmm.
not just a hobby, like you say.
Right, right. So I think that's where we need to start. We need to start number one, getting large people involved in large scale agriculture to think of it as a business, and
Hmm.
those in small scale agriculture to
Hmm.
form groups and
From
cooperatives.
cooperatives to come
Right,
together so that becomes a big business,
right,
essentially.
right. So you become more reliable at that point because a lot of customers, that is one of their main issues.
Hmm.
Because even as a person in between the two parties, I realize that is an issue. Because if I
As
call
in,
you,
they're not able to predict how often they can get their passion fruits or how
right,
much. Right,
right. Because
right,
again, um, if you have a business mindset, you know that retaining your customer is very important.
right.
But a lot of farmers in particular, I'm talking from experience,
They
they
don't
do
care.
it on a first come, first serve
Right.
basis. But
Right.
people that are seasoned in their business will understand that it is good to retain your customers,
For
right? So,
consistency and over the long haul,
right,
continuing business. Yes.
right. So you cannot just go and every time somebody wants something, you just sell because you want some money.
You cannot
Sometimes you
give
have
high,
to
keep
think.
high.
So, sometimes you have to think of, hey, I have this customer who takes such and such amount of produce every fortnight, so this is my customer. But
Yes.
we just, I feel like we are so, people who are involved in agriculture, they don't get enough money. It's not a high turnover, if I should say. So because
Mm-hmm.
of that,
Not a high return on their
right,
investment. Mm.
right. So because of that, I believe they are forced to do things on a first come, first serve
Like
basis.
feast or famine. I know what you're talking about. Like sometimes when
Yes,
you have, when you don't have, you really don't have, and you're more
right,
likely to make poor decisions. But you're also saying if people plan ahead and they structure their business and they follow the steps in your book, they can balance that out. And so
right.
you're not always in feast in plenty or a little
Mm-hmm,
bit. It
mm-hmm,
balances itself out.
mm-hmm.
You have a nice, comfortable, fat enough return to keep you and your family going.
Right. And one of the things I realized, I have been employed for myself and I have spent some time working for people. And one of the things I realized, if you are employed for somebody, you're going to
Mhm.
have to wait till fortnight for that money.
That's right.
You're going to have to wait till month end for that money. So
That's
why
right.
is it if you are employed for yourself, you cannot wait for your one reliable or your most reliable customer?
Yes.
Next
That's a
fortnight he will
beautiful
pay me.
point.
You understand? I
That's a
feel
beautiful
like
point.
we need to sometimes, I feel we sacrifice so much more for people who we work for
Yes.
and not enough for people. My God.
What do you
I
think?
feel like I feel,
What do you
what's
guess?
that?
What is your guess? What is your guess as to what that's about? Why do you think we sacrifice more for other people than for ourselves sometimes?
I, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just a laissez-faire attitude that you have because you know when you are working for people, um if you don't do what they say, then you're going to miss an opportunity maybe to keep your job or something like that. People always
Mhm.
want jobs and so on. But then when we are working for ourselves, we feel like we can do what we want, when we want, if we want. And I think it takes a lot of discipline.
Yes,
When you're
ma'am.
working for yourself, the very same discipline that you need when you're employed by somebody else.
Look, I am so impressed with you
Hmm.
because it's not what you call it, it's not polite to ask people how old they are or young they are necessarily, at least on this side of the Atlantic. People don't always want to say how old they are, but you're
Hmm.
pretty young. You're a young woman.
Hmm.
I read your bio that you had written this book and two others by
Yeah.
29. By 29.
I mean, I've been in the media and been trying my stuff from since I was like 20 years old, fresh out
Wow.
of college, like I say. Um, so I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people in the sector, and that opened up my brain a lot. And the mere
Hmm.
fact that I tried to do my own business is
Hmm.
like it gave me a first-hand experience on everything. So that's why when I speak like I already know what I'm talking about because
Right.
I went through it. I
You
went
live.
through it in real time.
That's powerful.
Real.
So as you talk about that, I want to know this. What do you know now about yourself that you didn't know before you started this agricultural journey? Like say 19 years old. What do you know now, right? About yourself that you didn't know before you started.
I feel like, well, being involved in agriculture birthed um, a more a stronger woman, a stronger woman. I matured a lot. I matured a lot, and I I think I got more interested in business as well. And
Hmm.
right now, I am very much more interested in writing. So I believe that my involvement in agriculture actually made me an author. That people can say, "Oh, Callister is an author today." It's
Yeah.
not something that I planned. It just became something that happened over time.
Why
So
did
I
you title the book? Why did you title the book Pink Agriculture?
Pink agriculture. I wanted to suggest a lighter approach to agriculture. Instead of green agriculture, I thought like
Mm.
maybe if I put pink agriculture, it would mean something related to the lighter aspect, like advertising, branding, marketing, because that's what I'm focusing on. So I did not
Mhm.
want to call it brown agriculture or green agriculture because people might think of the plants aspect,
Yeah,
but
it'll tie
that's not
in.
really where my focus was. And even with that, I think pink is connected to women. So the advertising, branding, and marketing aspect, I believe it's targeting women as well. So we can watch it on two sides of the coin, if I should say.
Where can people find the book? Because this is a powerful, timely book full of information that when I listen to you, if I were 19 years old, I'd be able to read the book and set myself up. I'd be able to set up my first farm
Mhm.
at 19 if I were willing to read your book. So, where can people read the book? Where can they buy the book?
Well, I do have a website I created, callistersango.com. That's my full name.com. So if you go there, then you will find all three of my books. So you can actually place your orders via my website, or you can search for my name on Facebook and just reach out to me. Reach out to me.
Okay, so I've authored two books, so I know it is not an easy process. I know it's time consuming. It requires a lot of focus and concentration. How do you make time? How did you make time with as busy a life as you seem to have?
Hmm. To be honest, most of the things I do it for myself. So, because of the, I don't know, for some reason, when I do things for myself, I can stay up for the entire night. I am not that disciplined when I'm working for other people. But when Callister tell you she's going to write a book, you will be sleeping and 3 a.m. she is there. And I will be writing and working and editing my book. So sometimes people wonder, girl, how you write 3 books already? Where you getting the time to do that? But while you are sleeping, I am up. Because when I decide I'm going to write a book, I will stay on it for the entire month. You know? Just focus
Until
on
you
it.
get done. You know, when
Yeah.
I was in elementary school, in primary school back home, there was a
Mhm.
poem. I don't remember who the author was, but one of the lines was, "And they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night."
Mhm.
So there's a calypso, I think, that's like that too. While they're sleeping, I'm studying. So I love.
Yeah.
Now I want you to
Hey,
offer
but
young people some advice, seriously, because I mean, the idea of social media is pretty cool, right? But the idea of working in the land for a lot of young people, it's, like you said earlier, it's a bit of a stretch for many young people, maybe more than not, right? So, how would you entice them to, what would you say to them to encourage them or help them to see the value? And I think because we're in Dominican, our internet might be doing us a little something, that Callista's internet is doing her little something. But y'all, have you heard her? Have you heard this powerhouse of a young lady? I completely could see what she was talking about when she talked about how women can support men in agriculture and how women themselves, Amma, how women themselves can start to approach agriculture as a viable business idea, as a viable business idea, because I think you're right, Callista, that many women, we like on eyelashes and our nails and working in the soil. It's not always cute. You know what I mean? It's not always cute. So I am so impressed. I see you around the country mobilizing and encouraging and inspiring young people and women and men, especially, to look at agriculture as business because again, that's how I grew up. That's how my parents sent me to school. And I remember growing up and just everybody looking out for each other, supporting each other on their farms. We developed the spirit of kudme, which is a principle in Dominica of supporting your neighbors, where farmers would leave their farms and go to another farm. All the villages, all the farmers and their families would come and they would completely take care of all the work to get farmers started, to get each other started, to support each other.
Mhm.
So, do you have any ideas, any plans for continuing to do that? How are you continuing to do that around Dominica?
Well, I feel you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Well, I feel like the main thing that we need to do is get an opportunity to work with people actively involved in agriculture, especially
Mhm.
um, in the ministry. So I feel like we need to work with people like the extension officers who every day they are there with the farmers and so on.
Mhm. Do you think like you're getting enough support, or do you think people have to practice doing it on their own?
Um, I feel like I need a lot more support because if I was getting the support that I needed, everything would operate much more smoothly and much
Mhm.
more quickly. But
Mhm.
yeah, I find myself trying to do everything on my own.
What kind of support? So, what are the gaps? What are the areas you think, um, what are the gaps? What are the areas that you think you would need more support in, and you think other farmers need more support in?
I think we probably can have meetings at the schools um, to teach farmers certain things that they don't know, certain things that can help to boost their business and so on.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay. Okay. Ama is the coordinator and the creator of the Dominica Garden Club. And Ama is big into farming and growing healing foods and organic foods and, using food as medicine. So Amma says she's got a friend who's an expat in agriculture, Miss Carbon. She's on My Lives at times, and she does all of her agriculture in pretty clothes. I love that. Do you? How do you do your agriculture? How do you do your agriculture? Do you think about that?
well, I think when you go out to market, like I said before, that's a different thing. You have to focus on your appearance. But when you
Hmm.
are in the garden, I mean, you wear your boots, you can sweat a little bit. I just believe when you go out there to market your products, it is good that you focus on your appearance. One of the things that I mentioned in my book.
You know what? What do you grow?
Sorry?
What do you grow?
Um, Honestly, I am more focused on marketing for now
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
technology part of it.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I have a lot of people in my family
Hmm.
who are actively involved in the
Then
production part of
got
it.
you, got you, got you. Okay, so go ahead.
I just wanted to touch on a few aspects um,
Yes,
in my book um,
yes.
that I think we should touch on. In terms of customers, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like farmers need to understand who their customers are. and that's one of the things that I talk about, customer analysis. So I have one, two, three, four, five groups of customers that
Mm-hmm.
I believe farmers need to focus on. We
Mm-hmm.
have patriotic customers. So those
Okay.
are people I believe um, they will eat your food just because it is from that country, or they will support you because it has made in Dominica on it. You know.
Yes.
So we are. I also have the customers who are fascinated by nature. So we have a few people who are just obsessed with nature and
Yes.
natural things and organic products and so
Yes.
on. So we have patriotic customers and customers who are fascinated by nature. I
Mm-hmm.
also have health conscious customers.
Yes.
So those are customers who, they are focused on their inside. They want to always be healthy. So
Mm-hmm.
those are some people that farmers in particular can focus on.
And
You know,
target. Okay.
I also have here customers who are suffering from health related issues. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a few people who are health conscious, but that doesn't mean that they are sick, right?
Right.
They are just health conscious and they want a healthy food. But
Mm-hmm.
we also have a few people who actually have a problem. Hey, I have diabetes. I have
Mm-hmm.
obesity. So those are some people that I think the farmers can focus on as well. And
So you're
last,
suggesting, Calista, that farmers also target their customers. So you can decide to create a farm that is specifically focused on organic foods
right,
or health people who are health conscious. This, I'm growing.
right,
I'm. These are my customers. This is going to be
yeah,
my customer base.
yeah. So I actually did the hard work for them, and I
Yes,
categorize it. So if you read that book, you already know, hey, this person will want such and such product,
hmm,
or this is who I target. And so we pay big money for those things,
absolutely.
because a business plan is like $1,000 upwards sometimes, depending on
That's
the
right.
nature of your business. So here I am telling you who your target customers are if you are
Yes.
actively involved in agriculture. So, and the final one I say is agricultural entrepreneurs.
Mm,
So, those are people, um, for instance, a farmer should think of agro processors.
hmm.
Sometimes they focus on just the market, but you can think if you have guavas, like you said,
Right.
maybe you can target somebody who produces guava jam,
Mm,
right?
yes.
So
Yeah.
that is your customer. So a lot of times I realize different groups of people involved in agriculture can really work together and they can be each other's main supporters.
I think you need to be in some schools. I think you need to be in the schools around the country.
This
I do.
this is something that I heard before because some of the people that read my book suggested that it was a book that could be used in
Yeah.
schools
Yeah.
because um, even if even as I read it forward, it says here the direct conversational style of pink agriculture signals a fresh approach to providing services to agriculture.
Yes.
This approach has been filtered out of agricultural extension methods in favor of a more prescriptive scientific approach. Alongside this filtered approach, we have witnessed a steady decline of interest in and
Mm-hmm.
participation in the farming sector
Hmm.
by both adults and youth.
Absolutely.
The impact of on production, health, employment, and income are well documented. And he goes on to say, I recommend this first effort by
Yeah,
Callister Sango to a readership that extends from primary and
absolutely.
secondary school students and
Absolutely.
their teachers to professional agriculturists,
Absolutely.
farmers, policymakers, and bankers,
Absolutely.
among others.
Absolutely.
And it continues. The material establishes an easy to follow template for bringing stakeholders together to address and
I agree.
resolve challenges facing the farming population on our island and in our region.
Absolutely. Look, this
So,
is the answer, if you ask me. This is how we save ourselves, if you ask me. This is how we save ourselves. Dominica used to be called the breadbasket of the Caribbean. This is what we need to return, and we need people from your generation to inspire people from your generation to do it. Because something happened, as that person who wrote your foreword described, where people from my generation who grew up maybe listening to our parents who were worried about us. They really didn't want us to work the land much. They were afraid. They thought it would be too hard for us. And maybe some of that crept into the mindset. And, but it's time to return because clearly we've experimented with not doing as much agriculture and it's not been good for us in
mhm,
many, many, many ways. One of the things you wrote in the book, or one of the styles that I appreciate, is like that person who wrote your forward said, you make it relatable and easy to get. So you have what are called pink tips.
right.
Pink
Mhm,
tips, right? Yo. And one of them is about pricing.
mhm,
So I talk about that a lot because it's one of my core memories of being in the market with my mom selling produce. And some Saturdays it would be okay, depending on how many, let's suppose it's mango season and everybody can get mangoes, right? Then your price just got to go down with the
right.
there's too much supply,
Mhm,
right? And so your price has gotta bend. But sometimes it's so painful for farmers that it's hard for them to price their produce correctly. One of your pink tips is to ensure that your price is right. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I actually have the page that you're talking about right now. And I realize in Dominica, we don't have much price control.
Hmm.
And we have people, sometimes you have something, it is $2 one place, and the
Right,
other place, it is 5.50.
right.
Where you getting that wide gap from? So
Hmm.
I feel like, we need to have a little bit of price control, especially in the agricultural sector too. But
Yes.
um, I want to touch today on something in particular. It's called package pricing, right?
Hmm.
Um, what I realized while conducting my business, a lot of it's not all products that are hot, meaning um stuff like seasoning pepper,
Hmm.
lettuce, those things will go quickly. But if
Hmm.
you have something like give me an example. Um Let me see, cassava. Let's just use cassava as an example.
Okay.
Um
Hmm.
it might not go as quickly as seasoning peppers or lettuce,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
in my book I talk about package pricing. And it says here that sometimes as a farmer you can package your product. So you don't sell them as individual products. You put them together. So
Right.
now you're not only selling cassava by itself because it is
Hmm.
not selling. So what do
Hmm.
you do? You package it alongside the tomatoes, your lettuce, and your seasoning peppers because they are hot sellers. So
Got
after
you.
you do that, then you come up with your overall price. And I go on further to talk about naming that package. So you just package that product. Now you have to give it a name that appeals to your customers. You understand? So it's no longer tomatoes you're selling. It's no longer lettuce. So now
Yes.
we're selling a package. Maybe you
Yeah.
can call it sensual seduction.
Exactly.
You give your
Right.
package a name, you know? So when people order, they're not ordering sensual seduction.
That
So you're
includes your
selling,
cassava
right,
and the other things they really
and the
like.
other
And
things,
you pull
right,
them in.
right. And it says here, you don't give it to them as a bonus, but at a reduced overall price. And I think I need people to understand it's not like you put the cassava in there and you don't price it. Just
Right.
because it's not selling doesn't mean that you just have to give it away. You
Yes.
reduce the price. So you put it alongside the others, reduce the price, and then you give it a nice name and you go
Wow.
again. So
This
sometimes
is
we have
beautiful stuff.
mhm.
So
Sometimes
sometimes you have,
we have people losing sales because they
hmm,
don't see the opportunities. But in my book, it's all about opportunity.
no, they need to get this book. You all need to get this book. You need to get this book if you're considering farming, if you're considering moving back home, if you're considering starting a little farm. Look, if you're considering making money from your farm and from the earth, which is so bountiful, is so blessed in Dominica.
Hmm.
I honestly think that's where our wealth is. I honestly think it's in the soil.
Hmm.
And you have a guide, you have a roadmap to anybody starting that journey.
Hmm.
So, okay, so we have a few more minutes. We'll go a little over 8, but here's what I want to hear from you. Every experience comes with its highs and lows and lessons and pains, right? What has been your biggest pain doing this work?
Um, I really thought it would have been easier, but I feel like number one, a lot of people are losing interest. So even if I try to come with a fresh idea, I cannot push that idea by myself. I
Hmm.
need a group of like-minded people to then
Yes.
push that idea. And after we push the idea of getting involved in agriculture,
Hmm.
then we can implement more modern strategies, if I may
Strategies.
say, that can
Hmm.
help to boost the sales
Absolutely.
of the people who are involved in it. So I feel like we have a lot of gaps that needs
Hmm.
to be filled, and it
Hmm.
stems from production all the way to marketing.
Hmm.
Um, because sometimes you find the farmers are not as reliable as you
Hmm.
want them to be, and the
Hmm.
farmers still complain that they cannot plant because there's no market for it.
Hmm. But
And
it's bidirectional. It's a symbiotic relationship.
and yeah, and
Hmm.
sometimes you actually have the customer, but they
Hmm.
want to control a little bit too much.
Yes.
So because
Yes.
of that, they benefit more than the
And the
supplier.
farmers. Hmm.
So we
Hmm.
have a lot of things that we need to put together. Um,
Hmm.
but I believe we can start with first getting the people actively involved to do farming on a business level,
Hmm.
to do your fishing on a business level, agro-processing,
Hmm.
seedling propagation. You're going to do it on a business level.
And again, if you can review some of the positives about doing that, like what's in it for them, what's in it for a person to do that. You're talking about
What?
money, talking independence, right? What
Mhm.
else?
Um, it will obviously eventually boost your sales because you're
Hmm.
going to take your business more serious. And once
Absolutely.
you do that, it means that you're going to depend on it for your livelihood. And this is what
I think the biggest thing is that you offer people a how. You see, a lot of us, we know what we want to do, we
hmm
know the results,
hmm
but very often we're missing the roadmap, the path.
right,
Your
right.
book offers the path. Pink Agriculture gives the template,
hmm
and
You're
that
right.
is beautiful.
You're right.
It's a how.
And
It's a
like I said, we have a huge problem, and it starts with production all the way to marketing. And my
hmm.
book here starts with production and it
Yeah.
ends with marketing. So I
Yes.
think, in as much as the book is not a very big book, but it
Yes.
touches on a lot of critical aspects.
Right there.
And if somebody is open minded enough, they will
Hmm.
realize that's a life changing book
It is. It
for
is.
people
It's a
that
how. It's a roadmap that will take
hmm
you from beginning to end. And I
hmm
really, I'm
Yep.
very impressed.
And
I'm
one
really,
last thing, I don't know if
yeah.
you guys can see that. Where's
What to
that?
do? What? What to
It
do?
says, it
What a
says,
pink way to
no.
end.
Okay, okay, sorry. But
Okay.
it says here, if after reading this book, you're not excited about agribusiness, read the entire book again, slowly. You understand? So that's the
Yes.
very last page in that book. And I
Yes.
believe that by the time somebody read that, they should
Yeah.
feel revived to do their
Okay.
business again.
I got another question for you. What has been your biggest joy throughout the experience? What's been your biggest joy?
Well, I enjoyed seeing the wide range of things that can come from agriculture. It is broad, and I feel like we are missing so many opportunities
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
when I look around me, there are so many things that we can do to turn raw products into something else. Let's just
Yes.
start there.
Yes.
Almost everything where we have so many produce wasting, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
we can turn those things into businesses. And I believe that is the most exciting part, the agribusiness aspect. I love that because everything I
Yes.
watch, I see business. Yeah.
You see this, you see.
Because
Harmony.
earlier this week, I had some lime. And now when I look at lime, I no longer see juice. I see
You
punch.
see.
You understand? I see
Yes.
something else. So there's
Yes.
always something that you can do. And I believe
Yeah.
that's the most exciting aspect, of it for me. The level of creativity and
Mhm.
innovation that exists within the sector.
So the opportunities are endless, essentially.
Anyway,
Limitless opportunities in
yeah.
agriculture.
I feel if I had,
Limitless.
yeah, if I had money, no, if I had some money to
Yeah.
start off, I would have a whole factory with a whole lot of different stuff. You
Yeah.
understand? But sometimes you have the mindset, but not the finance, you
Yeah.
know? And sometimes you have the idea, but you're dependent on people who are not ready to help
Right.
you implement that idea.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we'll see where we go.
I hope it's all the way up there. Okay. Next question. What do you never want to experience again based on what you've been through on this journey?
What would I never want to experience?
Hmm.
Um, I think I just want everything to flow smoothly.
Hmm.
I think there are too many hiccups, you know. So
Hmm.
from reliability to price control,
Hmm.
I think we need to come to an equilibrium, if I should say,
Hmm.
you know, where the customers and the farmers
Can
can
meet like a balance where
right,
it's a win-win, where it's a
right.
win-win for the customer
Win-win. I
and
like
the
the word
farmer.
you use because sometimes we have customers, they really support the farmers, but are you
Hmm.
thinking of them? You're
Hmm.
thinking of how much profit you're going to make, but
That's
are you
right.
thinking of how much profit they are going to make? And I
Yes.
think one of the key things that we need to do is sometimes put ourselves in other people's shoes. So we understand you have a family, but the farmer has a family as well.
Hmm.
You understand? So in as
Well,
much as
maybe we can advocate for price control. Maybe that's
within
the
the agricultural sector,
absolutely because we need external structures to keep all of our emotions in check. Because you see what I'm saying? That's why those rules and supports are
there
valuable.
there is some level of price control, but
Hmm.
I'm not talking about um, price control for the masses per se, because you
Hmm.
will always have individual customers that want to
Hmm.
say, "Hey, this is what I want to buy."
The chicane.
Right,
The word in
right.
Dominica is chicane. To chicane means to shake a seller. You break them down to the lowest price you can
Hmm.
get. Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
But what we need is for the people in agriculture, let me just be specific. I need them to have more control of
Hmm.
their pricing.
Right. Okay.
Pricing. Right.
Okay. Last question.
Hmm.
What has been your biggest lesson that you will move forward with? Yeah, you've accomplished a whole lot at 30. Yeah,
Hmm.
29, 30. What lesson are you firmly moving forward with as you continue this experience based on what you've gone through so far?
Well, the lesson that I will move forward with is don't give up. Because in my business, I experienced a lot of highs and lows.
Hmm.
Things don't always happen the way that you want it to.
Hmm.
But in one of my books, I talked about not pink agriculture, but another one. I talked about it doesn't matter how small your progress is,
Hmm.
you have to keep going.
Yes,
Because if you make $1 when you started with $0,
that's
that is
right.
enough to
That's right.
tell you or to convince you that you can make $2. Because when I wrote Pink Agriculture, I did not know that I would have at least 10 people that would buy my book,
That's
like
right.
pay money for it. You
Hmm.
understand? But because I had a few people buy this one, I was able to write another one
Hmm.
and a third one. So
Hmm.
sometimes all you need to do is keep going. Because I am having this interview right now,
Hmm.
not at the time when I wrote Pink Agriculture. It's almost 2 years after that. But it's now getting into people's heads.
Yes.
After I started promoting my two other books, that's
Yes.
when people started recognizing Pink Agriculture.
Yes.
What if I just decided that I was not going to move? Would I be on this interview with you today?
No, no,
So
no.
I just want to encourage everybody. It doesn't matter how small your progress is. Keep going. And $10 is better than none.
Okay. So, Callista, I want to tell you thank you so much, like really sincerely. I see your passion, I see your vision, and I hold a similar vision for Dominica because I think our soil, our earth, après bon Dieu c'est la terre, is what we have enshrined in our motto, which means after God, the earth. We place so much value on the earth, and I'm very, very encouraged to see you at your age so passionate about it. And like you say, pink agriculture is moving. The energy of pink agriculture is moving because we need it on our little island. We need it. We need all the young ones to see how much money, how much freedom, how much independence they can have from working their land, the land that their grandfather perhaps bequeathed to them. That is FREE today. They can use that to become wealthy, as
Right.
opposed to, like you say, waiting for a paycheck every
Somebody else.
30 days from somebody else.
Mhm.
So, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I hope I have the honor of talking with you again. There's another book, y'all, that she wrote called I Was Broke Because 20 Reasons I Was Broke.
Right. Right. And there's a third one,
And there's a
featuring
third
my
one.
son,
Is it Kai and the
the
pizza?
pizza cloudness. So that's a children's book.
So she's got two other books, okay? I really want to talk about the money book because I think people, especially your age, at that stage of life, it's, you're struggling, you're figuring out how to bring in the money. And I think your thoughts will be very valuable to many people. So keep speaking up. Final thoughts, your last thoughts.
Um, what can I say? I just hope that at the end of this, for anybody watching this who is actively involved in agriculture, I hope that you consider buying my book, Pink
Yeah,
Agriculture. And
yeah.
I hope that after you read it, you actually implement what it is that I wrote in there because it is a very good book. And I
Hmm.
hope that the Ministry of Agriculture reaches out to me or
Yes,
gives me an opportunity to share my books with uh, the agriculture students in the
yes.
various schools.
I join and agree with you on that intention. I think it's a powerful one. I think, honestly, we need people like you with your energy, with your passion, and with your love already for the earth and for agriculture to go out there and just spread the joy, spread the love. Yeah, spread the love because we need it. Okay? Thank
Yes.
you so much. Y'all, thank you all so much for listening. I hope each of you on here, you sacrifice, or you, I won't say sacrifice, I encourage you to divert, to redirect money that you might have spent on coffee or tea, on extra whatever that you're going to just throw around the house.
And support
Yeah,
camp.
like you redirect that money towards Callista Sango's book Pink Agriculture, and we offer it to our kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews ourselves. Yeah.
And everything is available at callistersango.com. That's my
Callista
full
Sango.
name.
Is it Callista Sango? See, can you spell it for them?
CALLISTERSANGO.com.
Okay. So David wants to see where the book is sold. You tell it to them again and show him what it looks like. So he's going to be very clear that that's what the book looks like.
So this is the book that we're talking about right now, Pink Agriculture.
Hmm.
Um, it is available at callistersango.com. So that's my name right there, callistersango.com without the J.
Okay. CallistaSango.com. And again, she's got two other books as a baby. I mean, she's a baby and she's already birthed all of that. I am very proud of you. The future is bright for Dominica. Keep it up.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye, y'all. I'll see y'all next Thursday, and I'll show you all pictures as I make my way around DC. All right? Peace.